Hi everyone, welcome to the demo for the automated time block planner template. If you haven't purchased this template, I will leave a link in the description box so you can go ahead and grab your copy. The first tab you would see when you purchase this template is the instructions tab. Here you find my contact information as well as a detailed step-by-step guide that will help you get started with using this template. Before we dive into the walkthrough video, let's go over what the template looks like when you purchase it. The first tab is the setup tab, and it comes with a lot of instruction information as well as some placeholder data that you will edit in order to get started with using your template. The next is the time blocking tab. You will see some placeholder information right here because it is in the setup tab, and this is just to show you what it's supposed to look like. The next, the monthly tab, will be completely blank. All right, so let's switch over to the demo copy to see exactly how it works. All right, so we are in the demo copy in the setup tab. The setup tab comes with a lot of instructions because there are a lot of different areas that you need to set up, but it's okay. All you need to do is take it section by section, and it's pretty easy to set up. You only have to do this big setup once. Once this is done, all you have to do later on is to make small changes as necessary. Starting with this area, you have some additional instructions here. And what this is trying to tell you essentially is that you need to check this box. Once you check this box, it's going to highlight all of the sections in the setup tab that you need to either add information, edit information, select information from a drop down, things like that. So once we check this box, you can see that everywhere we need to add information turns this yellow color. And then moving on to this section, there is a step-by-step guide. So these are the different steps we need to take to completely set up this template. And as we cross them off, you can see that the yellow color disappears. Let's start with the first one. So the first step is to select icon and type priority. So this would be down here, icon and type priority. And what this is that you need to select the icon colors you want to assign to the different values. You can decide to type the values first or assign the icon. It doesn't really matter. So you can change this to whatever you want. So I can change this instead of having delete to not urgent. And let's say assign a different color by clicking on the drop down. Let's say assign white to it. And as you can see, it shows up here with the new color and the new name. So you can do this for the rest of them. You can use these values, or you can type in new values and assign new icon colors to them. And once you're done with this, go ahead and check that. And that yellow color disappears to signal to you that this section is done, and the progress bar begins to fill up in this area. Moving on to the next one, add custom frequencies. Let's say you have a meeting on the first Monday of every month. You can use this option first Monday, or maybe it's second Monday. Go ahead and click on the drop down, select second Monday. And let's say you have a meeting the third Tuesday of every month. Go ahead and select third Tuesday. This is going to be added to the list of the other normal, more common frequencies that already exist in the template. If you're done with this, go ahead and check that off. Next would be to add important dates. This section is reserved for adding holidays and maybe some important due dates and deadlines. There is a section in the weekly time blocking area that these dates show up. So if you want that in your radar, like an anniversary date, a birthday, and you don't want to put it with one of the tasks, you just want it to show up in its own section, that's what this is for. So things like holidays have already been pre-populated. However, these are the United States holidays. It doesn't apply to everyone, so you can go ahead and delete these and add in your own. Or let's say these do apply to you, but you are using this in January of 2026, for example. Go ahead and double click and just reassign the date, either by going through the calendar, or in this case, I'm just going to change this from 5 to 6, and then it updates to January 1st, 2026. So everything here can be edited. As you can see, after the holidays, I added in some birthdays. You don't have to add them in order because it will be sorted in the time blocking area. So just go ahead and add the dates as you remember them. Once you're done with this section, click on the checkbox and we'll advance to the next one, which is select week start day. This week start day is not referring to the week start day for the time block or the calendar. It is the week start day for your habits. And I'll show you what that means. Here is the habit section. So you can add up to 10 habits per day, but you can add up to 45 different types of habits, but not all habits are going to be done every day or every period of time. So you might have different habits you want to potentially work on, but you're not tracking all of them. So this template gives you the flexibility of adding lots of different habits, but then you can decide what habits you actually want to track daily, weekly, every Monday, etc. So first you will set the start day. If you start your week on a Monday, for example, select Monday or Sunday, and everything resets appropriately. And now that this is done, let's check this off. After you have selected the weekly start date, you're going to type in your max habits per day. So the max is 10, and that's the default that's here. So you can leave it as 10. You don't have to change it. And then The next would be to add your repeating habits. So 45 is the maximum that you can add. So you have entire space for 45, but it doesn't mean you're going to be tracking all 45. Like I mentioned earlier, you can track a max of 10 per day. So let's say for drinking a glass of water, that's something you want to track every day of the week. So just highlight that, check it off. Reading for 30 minutes daily. So let's say you only want to do this Monday through Friday. So just select those and check it off. Exercise 3 to 4 times a week. So let's say your exercise day is Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Okay, so go through each one and select the days that you want to track that habits. So as you can see, so let's keep going and selecting additional habits. When I select more than 10, so right here I have 10. If I add an additional one, everything shows red, and this is to alert me that I have exceeded my max. And this is because if I go to my weekly time block, you can see right here, it puts the extra habits right here. That's the reason why you want to make sure you stay within your maximum of 10 and no more. I'm going to take one out. All right, let's cross that off. Next would be to add or edit time block categories. Right here is where we'll add our different time block categories. Our weekly time block will be organized into categories: morning routine, admin tasks, work, health and wellness. Whatever category you want to use, you can use. You only have 8 slots to assign different categories. That's what you would type here. Everything here can be edited, so delete this and type in your own morning routine, work, school, things like that. I'm just going to undo this back to the original and go ahead and check that off. And then finally, we're going to add our time block task. The way the template works is that instead of having to type a task every single time, all you have to do is set it up once and then select it from a drop down. We have 8 categories and 45 tasks per category, which should be more than enough to cover the different tasks that you need to enter. You don't have to type it all at once. Just start with the ones you need, and as you use the template, come back here and add or edit the different tasks that go into the different categories. Once you're done with that, go ahead and check that off, and the entire template has been set up. So like I said, as long as you follow these check boxes and do one at a time, even though it seems like a lot of steps, it should be pretty straightforward. So let's move on to the next tab, which is the weekly time blocking tab. Before I get into showing you how it works, I'm going to show you how to change the color. To change the color is very easy. It has been created using the color theme. So if you go to fill color, click on that. This color is what I used to create this entire template. And if I scroll down, here are the different colors that have been assigned to the different categories, which should match the colors here. Okay. So maybe you want creative work to be this darker color, just delete creative work from this cell, type it here, and move morning routine to this cell. So when you get here, that information transfers over to this place. Okay, so now let's change the color of the template. To do this, we're going to go back to fill color, go to custom, click on that pencil icon, and then just click on done. And then you can see that there are other color themes that you can select that would work with this template, or you can add in your own. So let's scroll and select this one right here. Select the theme, click on this, and as you can see, it automatically applies that theme color to the entire template. And you'll notice that some of it is white, and let me show you how to fix that. So that's customize. So click on customize, and then you can see that it's white because this color is white. So you can replace this white color with, let's say, this purple color. Or you can go back to the same area, custom, and instead of selecting a theme color, you can actually change it directly here. So let's say I want to change this color to a purple color. I want to change this to a green color. I want to change this to this orange color. So you can change the colors here. And if you don't want to use these preset colors, you can go ahead and import your color. You can type this plus, add in your Xcode, or bring in an image with the color and use the color picker option to choose the color you want. All right, so let's go over this section. The first area is where you would select the dates that you want to use for the time block. This time block has enough for 5 weeks. So if you scroll all the way down, you can see that this is where the week divider is. So this is week 1, the second week, the third week, the fourth week, and the fifth week. So you can use it monthly. Some months have 4 weeks, some months have 5 weeks. It has enough to cover a month and then some. Okay, so if you select a date here, this starts January 1st, and then this will go all the way down to February 4th. Then you can go ahead and rename this template January if you're going to be using it for January. Or if you want to start in February, reselect a date, double click February. So I didn't duplicate it, and I'll show you how to do that really quickly. So I'll go ahead and click duplicate, and then just say this would be March 1st, double click March. Okay, you can do this for every single month of the year. which gives you a lot of flexibility because you don't have to start from a specific date. You don't even have to start from March 1st. You can start from March 16th, and it just starts counting that day from the date you select here all the way down to 5 weeks from the date you select. All right, so we have January 1st selected here. This creates a mini calendar, and if I were to change this to December, which is the month that I'm filming this video, you can see that it highlights the current week and the current day. All right, and then here's where you select the time. It goes from the time you select here all the way down to 24 hours after, divided in 30-minute increments. So you can go ahead and select 6 a.m. and it counts all the way down to 5:30 a.m. the next day. All right, this is a section to add an inspirational image or photo. So you can add an image of whatever you want here. You can just delete this, click on insert image, insert image in cell. You can either search for an image in Google or upload an image of your own. Click on browse, upload, all right, and then it shows up right here. Try to use an image that is a rectangle so it fits into the space. All right, so remember how we added important dates in the setup area right here? Okay, that's where it's going to show up. So based on the month you select here, the dates will be pulled into this area. So December 18th is showing up because December 1st has been selected. Scrolling down, this is an area that you would edit manually. Okay, meaning that you can delete these and type in whatever top priority you want to focus on. It's divided into 5 weeks, January 1st to 7th, 8th to 14th, 15th to 21st, all the way down to February, which is the last week in this tab. So you can add in your different priorities and cross them off when you're done. Okay, scrolling all the way down, this is attached to the habit tracker area, and I'll show you that when we go through this section. But for now, here are your different categories. And the first column here shows you the number of hours that you have assigned to the category and the percentage. So you can see personal time has the highest percentage, and that's also reflected in the progress bar right here. All right, so how does this actually work? So I'm going to go ahead and delete the task. Okay, so when you get your template, it will be blank. So go ahead and delete the task here. You don't want to delete anything in this category, okay, because this contains formulas and this will be pulled in automatically from what you have assigned to the setup tab right here. This template works semi-automatically, meaning that if you want to add a task, you would enter the task first in the setup tab and then select that from the drop down. So if I go back here and I want to type wake up, all I need to do is type WA and it shows up from the drop down list. Select it and automatically pulls the morning routine. That way you're not typing in a task every single day. Everything works seamlessly. You can double click, scroll to select, or just type in the first few letters. So let's say AM skincare and it shows up under morning routine. Let's select something different like stretching. Okay, so select this one and then it shows up personal time. If this is not the right category, don't try to edit it here. Go back to the setup tab, look for stretching, remove stretching from here, and then add it to a different area. So maybe health and wellness. Also try not to duplicate the task right here, because if I add stretching here and add stretching here, when I try to select it from here, the formula is going to be confused. All right, so go ahead and just assign the different tasks. I'm just going to randomly assign a different task here so you can see how it works, and it automatically comes up with the right color. All right, so let's say you're all the way here. You can click here to get back to the dates here. These are hyperlinks. So let's say you want to jump to the last week here. You don't have to scroll all the way down. Just click on this arrow and click on that and it takes you to the last week right here. January 29th to February 4th, January 29th to February 4th. So scrolling all the way down, I'm going to show you how habit tracker works. So this is a Wednesday, and that means for Wednesday, we have only 2 habits. If we go back to the setup tab, you can see right here that for Wednesday, we only have 2 habits. So let's say we want to add more habits to Wednesday. So Wednesday, we also want to do meditation. We want to do journaling. We want to do our weekly hobby and practice gratitude. So we have 6 habits for Wednesday. So when we go to the week time blocking, all these habits show up here. And then as you complete the habits, you can go ahead and check it off and you can see the progress bar here. In addition to this percent per day, you can see the percentage completed per habit. So if you want to see how many times in this time block did I practice gratitude daily, go ahead to this section right here, click on the drop down, search for practice gratitude daily, and it shows you 20%. And if I were to scroll through to the next Wednesday right here and check this off, this number increases. Scroll to the next Wednesday, check this off. We're up to 60%. So it's going to take all of the different days that you have completed these habits and calculate the number of times the habit was completed. Okay, and once the month is done, you can go ahead and rename this. So rename this January to February and then duplicate by right clicking and clicking on duplicate. And then we can rename this February to March and then change the date. So we left off February 4th. So you can go ahead and click on February 5th. And so it goes from February 5th all the way to March 11th. And then you can delete these or just make changes. So you can start from a plain template or go ahead and use whatever you have copied over and make changes as necessary. All right, so that is how the weekly time block works. All right, so the next tab is the monthly tab, and this tab actually works independent of the weekly tab. So you can use it as a supplement to track your task. And what's nice about this is that this is perfect for recurring tasks and you don't have to constantly add it every single month. Okay, so to set this up, go ahead and select the start date. This allows you to select whatever start date you want, just like the weekly time block. So double click, and this is January 2026. We're just going to select January 2025. All right, so that's a Wednesday. And as you can see, the calendar now starts from Wednesday, the 1st of January. Okay, so that's the entire calendar all the way down. And I'll explain what these colors are in a second. Okay, so let's add a task. I'm just going to say wash car, for example, and assign a category, household chore. Now we're going to add a frequency. That's where this template really shines. You can use it for one-time tasks, but it certainly works best when you're using it for tasks that have to be repeated with a given frequency. So let's say you wash your car once a week. So click on this and we're going to select weekly. And we're going to start this January 1st, Wednesday. And then when you look at the calendar, it shows up right here every Wednesday. Let's say we do it monthly and it's every second Monday. So let's select that second Monday. And remember, you have this custom frequency that you have created right here. Okay. So we go back here, we have second Monday. So the first Monday of January is the 6th and the second Monday is the 13th. And as you can see, it shows up right here, 13th of January. And if we were to change this to February, it's still going to show up for the second Monday. Okay, so the first Monday of February is the 3rd and the second Monday is the 10th. So it shows up based on the schedule regardless of the month that has been selected. All right, so let's change it back to weekly. Let's add another task. I only want to do this one time. It's not based on a frequency. Let's just say personal time and you can click on once. And I want to do this today, December 27th. So it's not going to show up here. So let me change my calendar to December. All right, so December 27th. So let's see. All right, so December 27th and it shows up right here, call Paula. And as you can see, it doesn't show up any other time because it's a one-time task. Let me show you how this end date works. So let's change this back to January. And as you can see, it shows up weekly. But I only want to complete this task for only 3 weeks. So you can click on an end date. And let's say I only want to complete it 1, 2, 3 weeks. I want it to end on the 15th. Okay, so January 1st to January 15th. So you can see 1st, the 8th, and the 15th. And it doesn't show up for the other Mondays moving forward. So you can keep it open-ended and it just continues forever essentially, or you can add an end date to stop that frequency from showing. So if you click on the frequency option, you have daily, weekdays, weekends, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, and then you have your custom frequencies showing up here. So you have a variety of options that should work for you. All right, so I'm going to remove these check boxes to make this a little bit less busy. All right, so when you're adding your task, be mindful because you only have 10 slots per day. So if you want to add 10 daily tasks, it's fine, but you only have 10 slots. And if you add a weekly task and you already have 10 daily tasks, it will not fit. So just keep that in mind. All right, so these were selected before. I'm going to delete them. If you remember, these are your priority labels. So if we go back here, they also show up here so you know what they stand for. So when you add your task, so washing your car, this is high priority, you can assign the priority to the task right here. To do that, just double click right here in the end. The options show up. Let's say this is high priority. We're going to select this. Okay, so it only shows the icon, but you can always remind yourselves what the icon means by referencing this area. So let's add another task. I'm just going to type task 3 and assign it to creative work. Let's say this is going to be daily. As you can see, it shows up daily and it also shows up based on the color that we have assigned to creative work. I can assign this task low category, and tomorrow maybe this task might be high priority. I can reassign the priority on a daily basis. Let's say the task has been completed, just cross it off. That task has been done for the day. And you could always move on to the next day where the task will still show up because it hasn't been completed for the next day. All right, so that's essentially how this works. The reason why this is showing up here is because I had tasks assigned in this area before and I did not delete the priorities. I'm just going to go all the way back with this to have some additional tasks that I had before. If you want to have a separate tab for every month, you can. The only thing I would caution you is that the more tabs you have, the slower the template gets because of the frequencies that we have built into the formulas to allow this to work as a recurrent template. If you decide to duplicate it, just click here, click duplicate. All right. And then you could rename this January. If you do decide to duplicate, ensure that you're copying your task from this calendar to the next calendar, because once you duplicate it, they're now independent of each other. So if I were to add a new task here and I add the priority and every weekday, okay, it's going to show up here, new task. If I go here to January, the date is still December, the calendar is still the same. It's not going to show up here. Okay, because these two tabs are no longer communicating with each other. So the way to use it would be ensure that if you want to continue with these tasks in these frequencies, ensure that you copy them from here and paste them here. So you will go ahead and say, okay, I want this new task to be added. So go ahead and copy it. Okay, and paste it here. All right, so that's how it would work if you do decide to duplicate the tabs. Otherwise, you can use the same tab, reuse it by cleaning it up, meaning that you would uncheck the boxes and then delete the assigned priority so that you can reassign them as you go from one day to the next day. Finally, scrolling all the way down to this side, this is a summary area. All of the tasks that you complete per week shows up in this column. That way you can keep track of the number of tasks that you have checked versus unchecked based on priority, and it gives you the total amount and a percentage here. And there's also a graph that allows you to see visually how you have done with your task based on priority for the entire week. And this repeats itself all the way down till the end of the month. One quick thing is that you might notice that there is this red error message, and that's because when we're setting up the tasks, we change this from black to white. So if I change it back to black, those messages would disappear. But if you want to keep the color that you have changed, you just have to reselect it for the error message to go away. So just reselect it to white and that error message goes away. All right, that brings me to the end of this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information can be found here. And if you haven't purchased this template, I will leave links in the description box so you can go ahead and grab your copy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.